All right, let's jump right into this explainer and completely flip the script on how you think about growing a software business. Look, right now, top companies are actively shifting massive budgets away from just chasing new clicks and ads. And you might be wondering, why? Well, because the exact strategies for exploding a company's valuation in 2026 have almost nothing to do with top-of-funnel acquisition. If you want to build a highly profitable business right now, you need to rethink your entire funnel. So we're going to look at the data, the emerging trends, and the exact strategies that the most successful companies are using to win.
For the last decade, we've all been obsessing over the storefront, right? Just getting people in the door. But there's a massive claim emerging from recent data. The real wealth isn't in top-of-funnel acquisition anymore. The absolute hottest subcategory of software right now, it's retention software. The post-purchase layer is literally where the gold is hiding.
To prove it, check out this staggering number. Around 40% of new annual recurring revenue now comes directly from existing customers through expansion. Just let that sink in for a second. Almost half of your new revenue shouldn't require a single new lead. It comes from upsells, cross-sells, feature upgrades. Selling to the people who already trust you is the ultimate growth hack for 2026. In fact, expansion revenue now offsets about 50% of the total impact of customer churn.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll kick things off with the post-purchase gold rush, look at why traditional acquisition is failing, dive into pricing models that drive retention, beating churn with AI tools, the vibe coding solopreneur boom, and finally, winning the 2026 SaaS game. Okay, Section 1. The post-purchase gold rush, where the real money is made, and how focusing on existing customers builds a foundation for absolutely unstoppable growth. It's fascinating when you map go-to-market motions against customer acquisition cost payback periods. Look at product-led growth. You've got a payback period of 6 to 12 months paired with a massive 40 to 60% growth rate. But then, compare that to the enterprise account-based marketing motion. That payback period stretches all the way up to 24 months. If a customer leaves before year 2, you haven't just lost a user, you have actively lost money. The big takeaway here? Acquiring customers is just the starting line. Nurturing and expanding those relationships is the true engine of modern SaaS. Companies that practice customer-obsessed strategies are actually seeing 43% higher customer retention and 28% higher revenue growth. It's not just some feel-good theory. It is pure, undeniable business logic.
Moving to Section 2, why traditional acquisition is failing, or as I like to call it, the 2026 activation crisis. What exactly broke in the old model to force this pivot?
Think about it. Traditional one-off marketing is failing SaaS because it completely ignores the delayed, compounding nature of subscriptions. In traditional e-commerce, someone buys a physical product, and boom, revenue happens instantly. But in software, they might read your blogs, start a free trial, poke around for 3 weeks, and only decide much later whether to actually open their wallet.
And this is the activation crisis in a nutshell. Notice that massive, sharp drop-off? A mere 5% of users might still be around by day 30 if you don't completely nail that post-purchase experience. Competitors are pushing incredibly light, view in 30 seconds demos that are super easy to start but incredibly easy to abandon. You have what the data calls a 14-minute aha moment crisis. If they don't see the value instantly, they're gone.
So to survive this gauntlet, your LTV to CAC ratio needs to be at least a healthy 3 to 1. Otherwise, climbing acquisition costs will absolutely crush your margins. You have to extract 3 times the value of what it costs to acquire that user. And because acquisition costs are soaring everywhere, the only mathematically viable way to hit this ratio is to drastically extend their lifetime value.
All right, Section 3. Pricing models that drive retention. Because we really need to move beyond rigid monthly subscriptions. Smart pricing is actually a primary retention tool now.
I found this super interesting in the sources. The absolute winning pattern for 2026 is hybrid pricing. Buyers are totally burned out on endless, rigid $10 monthly fees for tools they barely open. Shelfware. But on the flip side, pure usage-based pricing gives finance teams a heart attack because it's impossible to budget for. The hybrid model solves this beautifully. It gives you a stable revenue floor while still capturing the upside of customer growth.
But you can't just wake up and change your pricing model. You need a strict, structured playbook. You define a clear hypothesis, design your test variants, implement it using a tool like Stripe or Pricewell, measure the full funnel, analyze the data, making sure you have at least 100 to 200 conversions for statistical significance, and then iterate.
You have to systematically align your pricing with actual customer value.
Section 4. Beating churn with AI tools, specifically focusing on outcome-based solutions. Let's see how AI is stopping churn before it even happens.
The absolute best platforms out there aren't just reacting to angry support tickets anymore. They are proactively detecting churn signals months in advance. Tools are now scanning every single support ticket for frustration language, repeated escalations, or even competitor mentions. They flag this to your customer success managers 30 to 60 days before the renewal conversation even happens. Plus, vendors are offering outcome-based pricing, so you only pay the AI if it successfully resolves a ticket, maybe $1.50 per resolution. It's wild.
Now, this stat absolutely blew my mind. 45% of returning customers reactivate their subscriptions within 30 days of cancellation. It proves that churn recovery is a highly compressed, time-sensitive operational race. It is not some long-tail marketing campaign. If someone cancels, you have exactly 1 month to win nearly half of them back. And crucially, only 25% reactivate on a discounted plan. Most just return at their previous tier, which means it's entirely about perceived value, not pricing pressure.
Section 5. The vibe coding solopreneur boom. We're talking 0 employees, massive scale, and a new wave of founders building these sticky tools single-handedly. Get this, there is a projected boom of 25 to 30 million solopreneurs in the US alone by 2026, and they are leveraging AI to do the work of entire software teams. And by the way, this number completely excludes temporary freelancers and gig workers. We are talking about independent, primary business owners generating trillions in economic activity without a single employee on payroll.
So how are they doing it? By vibe coding. Andrei Karpathy actually coined this term, and it's a total game changer. These solo founders are bypassing expensive developers and rapidly prototyping post-purchase workflows from scratch. Instead of writing complex syntax, you literally just describe the vibe and functionality you want in plain English to an AI, and it builds the application for you.
One person can now spin up incredibly complex AI-assisted onboarding layers just by talking to their laptop. Solopreneurs are reporting 3 to 5 times faster at prototyping. They're using multi-agent orchestration, meaning one AI agent handles the UI design, while a completely different agent writes the back-end database logic. It entirely eliminates that terrifying blank page problem of starting from scratch.
All right, Section 6, winning the 2026 SaaS game. Let's bring all this together and look at what it takes to actually win today.
Here is the magic number to keep in your head, 110%. Achieving a net revenue retention above 110% is the ultimate signal of success right now. It unlocks higher valuations and faster growth, even if your acquisition completely stalls out. If you can keep the customers you have and organically expand their usage through hybrid pricing and proactive support, your company grows automatically, regardless of skyrocketing ad costs.
So, if you want to build a highly profitable software business today, here is your exact post-purchase playbook. You absolutely must audit your 30-day onboarding journey to fix that drop-off cliff. Transition your billing to hybrid models that blend base fees with usage. Implement proactive AI churn detection. And leverage vibe coding to build these features rapidly, whether you're a solopreneur or a small, agile team.
I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question to chew on as you review your own business model. Are you just trying to get people in the door, or are you actively building a post-purchase layer that guarantees they never want to leave? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really challenge you to start looking at your existing customers as your absolute best channel for growth.